The president just capped off a very busy day on the campaign trail, a huge, massive rally and crowd in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Look at this crowd. Look at Winston-Salem tonight. Take a long look. Ask yourself, by the way, that's not all the video I wanted to show. How many people feel this way, you can run the other video, about the weak and the frail Joe Biden? Because earlier, the president also delivered a speech in Jupiter, Florida, where he was also met by massive crowds. Meanwhile, Joe Biden spent today in his basement bunker doing nothing as per usual. We'll have that video in a minute. Apparently, he needed the rest after a very rough weekend on the campaign trail. More weird gaffes, more strange statements, more constant confusion. He looked like a masked deer in the headlights. We're going to show you the very worst moments from this weekend of Joe Biden coming up. Plus, we're going to bring you a critical warning that the rest of the media mob won't tell you about, and that is mail-in voter fraud. It is real. This coming from a Democratic operative who organized and coordinated mail-in ballot voter fraud in many previous elections. And later, we have brand new disturbing video from this weekend's far-left riots. But first, we start with a very important observation about the 2020 race, 56 days from now. As we speak, there is nothing that I can otherwise describe as what is a sickening, sick, ugly alignment among so many of the powerful elitist groups in this country. You got the Democratic Party there, 99.9%. You got weak Republicans, you know, the ones that always demanded if you're a conservative, you got to suck it up and support their rhino candidates, the ones they preferred. You have all the deep state bureaucrats that desperately want Trump out so they can return to their nefarious deeds. And the 99.9% of the mob and the media, 99.9%. Got the New York Times, Washington Post, all the print media for the most part, nearly every single solitary so-called cable news network, they're all fake news, every broadcast channel, ABC, NBC, CBS. Then you can add Hollywood snobs and elitists. Then you can add now many pro athletes. They all speak in one voice. They're all working on one goal. They all want one outcome on November the 3rd. They want to beat Donald Trump. Now it's time for a Hannity history lesson and what we call perspective. Because remember, I know 4 years have gone by fast, but the same exact thing was happening 4 years ago. In 2016, same groups all aligned up against Donald Trump. They laughed at Donald Trump's campaign. They mocked him from running. They all made the prediction, ha ha, he can't win. Almost all of them said no chance of winning. They orchestrated then the biggest smear campaign in history. You might remember some of this.
Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Do it. Do it. Look at me. Do it. I will personally write you a campaign check now on behalf of this country, which does not want you to be president, but which badly wants you to run.
This man has got some momentum, and we better be ready for the fact that he might be leading the Republican ticket.
Next, I know you don't believe that, but I want to go on to Matthew Dowd.
Sorry to laugh.
Which Republican candidate has the best chance of winning the general election?
Of the declared ones right now, Donald Trump.
Mr. Trump, to answer your call for political honesty, I just want to say you're not going to be president, all right? It's been fun.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump. At least I will go down as a president.
Donald Trump is a here today, gone tomorrow candidate for president of the United States.
Let me assure every person here, Donald Trump will not become president of the United States.
Can you imagine Donald Trump standing up one day and delivering a State of the Union address?
Well, I can imagine it in a Saturday night skit.
Donald Trump, we project, will win in Kentucky with its 8 electoral votes. Kansas, with its 6 electoral votes, Nebraska with its 5 electoral votes, Utah, Wisconsin, Arizona, capping his improbable political journey with an astounding upset victory.
Now, as it turned out in 2016, we learned their collective opinions, predictions were not only wrong, but they were all meaningless. Here is a simple truth. The Washington swamp will not decide this election. Neither will those Hollywood snobs. The truth is, none of these people matter. Their opinions do not matter. Fake news doesn't matter. The power rests with all of you. Look at North Carolina tonight. That's not the mob. That's not the swamp. That's not Hollywood elites. That's you, we, the people. You will decide. You get to be the ultimate jury in just 56 short days. You, the American people, 56 days will decide on the future of this great country. The stakes, they've never been higher. By the way, for informational purposes only, on Hannity.com, we have an interactive map that shows you everything you need to know about where to vote in your district. When do you get to register? When is the registration deadline? When does early voting start? When does it end? And so much more. Who's running for Congress? Is there a Senate race in your state? Make sure to check out Hannity.com for all the information and details that you could ever want. This is the single most consequential election of our lifetime, and the media, the mob, the Democrats, Hollywood elites, and all of their allies, they're not telling you the truth. They've lied to you for 4 straight plus years. In fact, as we speak, they're turning a blind eye to the obvious and serious concerns about, let's be honest here, the whole country's talking about it. They talk about it behind closed doors. Democrats even tell me. Media mob people even tell me. Joe Biden's strength, his stamina, his alertness, and mental acuity, yeah, they're all worried about it. Just like the riots, oh yeah, it's a myth, it's not happening. They're ignoring a walking disaster in Biden, and they know it. They are so desperate to beat Donald Trump that they're willing to put this country literally in the position of supporting somebody that would be elected president that is weak, that is frail, that is obviously a candidate that is not up to the job, the hardest job in the entire world, President of the United States, leader of the free world. For example, during one virtual event on Monday, Biden struggled mightily to answer a question without a teleprompter. Well, actually, with a teleprompter. Take a look.
I would like to know, what will your administration do to help them give them that chance? Thank you.
Let's move it up here. You know, there used to be a basic bargain in this country. Workers shared in the wealth their work helped create.
Remember last week during a Biden town hall in Kenosha, Wisconsin, one person actually had to complain that she was being forced to read off a written script. Just think, if this was Donald Trump, think for a minute. Take a look.
I'm just going to be honest, Mr. Biden. I was told to go off this paper, but I can't. You need the truth. And the truth of the matter is, we are heavily angry. Not angry as to where people say, oh, they're protesting. There's a difference between a protester and a rioter. A very big difference.
The Biden campaign, they should be ashamed. If this was any Republican, the media mob would have a field day. Instead, they just play along. They cover up the truth. They act like reality's not happening. They have zero moral compass, intellectual honesty, or curiosity. It is such a disservice to you, we, the American people. It is a dereliction of duty.